My violins, it's a very beautiful and unusual violin by Francesco Stradivari. He was the eldest son of Antonio, the famous maker, and he worked with him in his workshop on a lot of the late Antonio Stradivari violins. I don't think there are many of them around, so it's a real privilege to be able to play one of them. It can be quite temperamental. It's very old, and the old violins usually tend to react a lot to humidity and to changes in weather, which in Newcastle is quite a regular occurrence. So it's really got its own personality, and it takes getting to know it every day, really, and working with its quirks and working with its moods. But it's all worth it, and it's just so alive, and that's what I love about it. It feels like a living creature. I grew up with lots of music in the house. My parents aren't musicians, they don't play themselves, but they're both music lovers, and especially my dad would play all sorts of records, not just classical, but jazz and rock and roll and all sorts of crazy stuff. I think my parents were a bit terrified of the initial stages. They can be quite painful on the violin. But yes, it was quite obvious to me in a way. I don't know why. It was never a question. There was a moment when I was 13 when I wanted to switch to jazz school, and I wanted to be a jazz singer, but I found another violin teacher and he convinced me to keep going, so here I am. I live about a 20-minute walk away from work, and I actually really love the city. I think it's got a great atmosphere. It's very open, lots of cafes, and people will really talk to you. I sometimes take the high-level bridge, but I've had some nasty experiences with birds there sometimes, so I try to avoid it now. But it's an amazing view, and it's such a nice walk to work. Seeing this unbelievable sight of the river and the bridges. I feel like every day it reminds me what an amazing place this is. I've been thinking about what I actually do outside of music, and it's made me realize that I should do all those other things I love way more often. I love looking at art, so wherever I am, I always try to go to exhibitions and somehow be in touch with other forms of art. I have a weak spot for shopping. I absolutely love vintage clothing. It is one of my greatest weaknesses. I could spend hours in charity shops and vintage shops looking for the special, unique thing. I love beautiful things. I think in another life I'd probably be a seamstress and make my own clothes. I wish I had more time for that. Maybe I should make more time for that. I enjoy performing a lot. I enjoy being on stage a lot. I think that's where I actually feel maybe more comfortable than in the rehearsal room. I like something about the directness of everybody's experience and the live experience. And I love having fun with outfits. I mean, of course, as part of the orchestra, we usually have to wear black. But even within that, I think there's room for fun. I think clothing can make you feel different. It can make you feel more how you want to feel in a certain situation. It's a bit like a costume. So I really believe it's quite a powerful thing. And I love playing around with it. I think a chamber orchestra is a special thing because it's definitely more intimate than a symphony orchestra would be, and you communicate with people in a more direct way. this moment when there's a pause in the music and you can hear the silence. This is what I live for. And you can feel how people are listening. It's not a dead silence, it's a really loaded silence. I can't imagine life without music. If I were to give up everything else, I think music is what would be left. And it's really hard to describe how much it actually means. But it can feel like a best friend. It can feel like comfort. It can feel like it understands all your feelings that you're not able to express. And to actually be able to play and express those inexpressible feelings that are so hard to put into words, it can be like therapy in a way. And I feel so fortunate that I can, it doesn't feel right to call it my job. It's really a way of living, and I feel very privileged that I've been able to get to this point where I can, live with it every day, and it means everything. And sometimes when, life isn't always rosy, and music is the thing that is always there, and it always helps, and it always understands, and you can live vicariously through the lives of so many unbelievable composers. It's the ultimate savior, I think.